In this video, I want to go over a cross-platform music player called Clementine. Now, if you found this video on YouTube, I will provide a link below the video that has a link to my webpage that will show you how to install the program and how to use many of the features within the program. And I provide a link at the bottom for additional information, help, files, links. Now, Clementine is a free and open source cross-platform music player inspired by the Amarok 1.4. Now there is a newer version of Amarok that looks different, but this was inspired by the Amarok 1.4. And this is what Clementine looks like. Now the version that you see here when you look in the help file is version 1.31, and that's the most current stable version of Clementine. However, with Ubuntu Mate and some of the Ubuntu and Ubuntu derivatives have problems displaying the little icon in the system panel, and I'll show you that in a few moments. And I show you ways of overdoing that on this website. Number one way is to install the version 1.4 RC. Now the RC is not a release candidate, or it is a release candidate. It's not in production mass producing. Let's take a look first at the different stages of developing software, so that way if you feel comfortable installing version 1.4 you can do so by clicking the link. Now when creating software, it goes through a pre-alpha stage as the first stage. That's when the development starts on it. The developers start writing the code and it's full of bugs. Eventually it goes to the alpha stage, and you get some alpha and beta testers that will send information back and tell what type of problems they had, and the developer will work on fixing it. And usually your beta testers, you have more beta testers than you normally do alpha testers. A lot of alpha testers are from the coder and their friends, and they will release an alpha version out there to get feedback. Then you have the release candidate, and that's the stage that this is, the 1.4. Then you've got your release to manufacturer, your general availability, and then your production live release. So this is just a release candidate. It's past the beta stage. Now if you want to install the most stable stage, you can open up your terminal, go sudo apt-get update, and then sudo apt-get install Clementine. Then to remove it, just go sudo apt-get remove Clementine. And if you're installing the newest version of the 1.4, you can still go sudo apt-get remove Clementine, and it will remove it from your system if you don't like it. Now I do provide multiple links that you can also download the installation file for the most stable. Here is the link. I provide two links for downloading the 1.4, and this will fix the issue, and I'll show you in a moment. Here is for like Fedora and any of the Red Hat distributions for the RPM packages, and here's the deb packages for Debian and Ubuntu based systems. And then you've got other links as well that you can download and install. And then here's another site that you can look through and match your distribution and the type of operating system, such as Windows. And so I provide two different ways of downloading the R1 or 1.4 release. Now once you install it, it will be in your menu. Since I'm using Ubuntu Mate 18.04, mine is in the application, sound and video, Clementine, because I'm using the traditional menu. Now let me go through, quickly show you a look at what it looks like. This will be what it looks like when you first open it, and I have removed my music file folders so I can show you how to add them on this video, which you just go to the playlist and add a file, or you can click where it says your library is empty, and it will prompt you to add your music folder, and it will scan. It will take a few moments and it will scan. This is your preference menus, and there's a lot of things that you can go and change in your preference menus, and I probably will not show you them all, and I probably don't have them all listed on my websites, but I do have a lot of the most used changed preferences. And at the very bottom of the site I provide a link where you can get more information. I show you how to add a playlist to the actual player once you've added all your files, once it populates all your albums within this list over here on the right hand side. So I go through, and I'm going to go through it quickly. I go through it real in details, showing you how you can change your themes, and even that it's a cross-platform, that it works in Windows, and I show you a Windows look that looks very similar to those that are using Linux. So if you're using the Windows environment or the Windows operating system, that you will see that it works the same in Linux. So that way you'll be in your comfort zone if you're using Clementine and eventually switch over to Linux. Now you go into the sound and video, click on Clementine, and the first time it loads, it will look like your library is empty and you see a little orange up here, which is a Clementine. Now if you're using the older version, the stable version of 1.31, that may be so large you can't see it. If it is, once you get your music loaded, you can drag this little track back and forth and it will regulate itself towards the normal size. Or you can install the version, and I'll show you. You can install the version 1.4 RC1 and it will add the correct size icon to your system panel. Now to add your music folder, you just can simply click here, or you can go to your playlist and say add folder. Now if you want to add an individual file, you can choose this, but if you want to add all your folders that are on your system, you can choose the add folder. But I'm going to click here because on my web page I show you how to go through the menu. I'm going to go to add new folder. Now it's already in my Tommy, my home. I go to a multimedia and then music. If I want to back up, I can simply see that there's my music folder and it puts music here. I can hit open, I can hit apply, then I can hit OK, and as you see across the bottom, it's updating my library, and in a few moments it should populate. There they are. You might have to scroll up and down to make the little orange disappear. Now since I did used to have a playlist up there, it's showing you some of my most played, least played, and since I deleted some of that, these would probably be empty, so I'm not going to use my smart playlist. Now a smart playlist, as you begin to play albums, it will keep up with your history, so you can go like your last played, click here and it will show up what your last played music is, so that you can continue where you left off. Some of the newest tracks that you've added, tracks that you've never played, the tracks you most played. So it creates a smart list on that section at the top. And if you scroll down, it will organize your albums by the artist, and you can go on your preferences and change it by the album name. For example, I have several Aaron Tippin songs, so when I click the little arrow on the left, it's going to drop down showing you all the Aaron Tippin albums, and if I want to see the music within them, I click this arrow here and there's the music within it. Now if I wanted to add the tracks, I can simply just drag this album over here. If I wanted to add a next one, I can drag it over here. That way when it's finished playing this album, it will immediately start playing this one. If I look and realize, oh, I forgot, I didn't mean to put this one, I can select all the songs, and I'm holding down my shift key or pressing the down arrow key. I can right click on it and I can say remove from the playlist, and it will take that album out. Or if I've dragged several albums into it and I don't want to select all of those, there's a little button down here at the bottom, clear playlist, and it will remove every one of the songs from the playlist very quickly. So let's go take a look at through some of the albums that I have here. Let's say that I have an Ed Sheeran here and I want to add it over here to my song list. Now I'm going to turn my volume down. You can also advance songs, you can progress through them, go back, you can play and stop. Those are the features on your bar. You can drag this once the songs start playing. Let me make sure it is muted. Now let me double click on one of my songs, or I can click onto it and hit play. And once it starts playing, I can drag this little bar across. Now if you're using the 1.3 version, which is the stable version, if you drag this little drag thing back and forth, it will eventually regulate the size to where it's normal size in your panel. So let me hit the stop. Now if it is playing, you can advance to the next song by clicking here, and you can back up by clicking that button. So let me stop. Now let's take a look through our tools menu. Once you go to the tools menu, you've got a cover manager. Now you don't see cover art over here, but you can display a picture in the background. So let's go to our tools, let's go to preferences, and take a look at some of the preferences within the general settings. Now we've already added our library by hitting add new folder. If I added some music folders and I no longer wanted them, I could click onto them and hit remove folder, and it will take it out from the list and it will remove the albums from my player. Let's go through the playlist, and I'm not going to read out every single one of them. Here's for your playback. You can fade out when stopping a track. If you don't like that feature, you know, where you're fading out and cross-fading where it fades back into it, you can uncheck those features, so that way when it finishes playing one song, it'll immediately start playing the next song. It won't have the fade from one track to the other. But by default, I think that is turned on, but you can turn that off. Now you can turn up the gain, so if the loudness is too low, you can adjust this to increase the volume level. So if your volume up here is set pretty high, but the volume of your songs is low, you can increase the gain of it so it sounds louder than it typically would. You can choose the output device. And as you can see here, you can choose like my sound card. I'm just using choose automatically so that it finds my active sound card that my Linux system is using. Behavior. You can say show the icon tray, which is here. If you don't like to see that, then you can uncheck that. But if you're minimizing it, or maybe closing it and letting it minimize, you do want to say show the icon tray so you can access the program back. You can say scroll over icon to change the track. Keep running in the background when the window is closed. Now that allows you to close this window here and it stays running, so that way it's not minimized down here on your taskbar. If you don't mind it on the taskbar, you can uncheck that. Just remember to hit minimize to minimize it here. But if you don't want to keep it minimized, you can say keep it running in the background, so when you hit close, it will actually stay playing your music in the background. But if you don't like that, uncheck it so when you hit close, it will actually close. Now your system language, there's a lot of different languages that you can choose from. I'm using my default language, which is English. When Clementine starts, I say always show in the main menu, which shows this. This is your main menu. You can also set it to hide the main menu, so when you start Clementine, you won't see it. It'll be up here as the icon to where you have to open it. Or you can choose to remember the last setting so that it will go back to the way it looked when you closed it down. Now there are a lot of other settings that you can set within here, like when saving a playlist, the path should be, you can say automatic. There's other things that you can choose as well, relative, absolute, ask when saving. A lot of times I usually choose to ask when saving a playlist. Normally I don't save my playlist since it's so easy to drag an album into this area over here. That's the easiest way for me to play my music using Clementine. Now here again is your music library. You can update the library by choosing this. If you're adding songs to that folder that we selected up here, when you first cut the program on or to start the program, it will scan your system for any additional albums and it will add them to the list. If not, you'll have to manually tell it to scan to add your albums to this list. You can say monitor library for changes so that as you add something, even when it's running in the background, it will show up. Now, network proxy, I don't really use this for streaming, so I don't really use the internet providers down here at the bottom. I have other things that I stream my music for, but one thing I do like, and I'll talk a bit more about this in just a few moments from my webpage, is transcoding. You can convert your music files to MP3, Vorbis, FLAC, Speaks or SPEX, AAC, WMA, and OPUS. So you can transcode your music from one format to another, and I have illustrated steps on my website, and you can change the bit rate. Now more likely if you have 128 kilobytes, the original, when you up the kilobytes, it probably is not going to produce better sound because the original source was only 128 kilobytes to start with. You can choose for remote access, so if you've got an Android device, you can go to the Google Play or scan the QR code, and with your Android device be able to control your Clementine music player on your system. You also have a Wii remote support, so if you have a Wii, you can actually control your Clementine with that. I really don't use either of these two features because when I'm at my computers, when I listen to my music. Now you can configure your shortcuts, you can change your shortcuts, you can search, and these right here are different places online. Now where it says not logged in, I have those unchecked. If you have an account for these, then you can log them in, but I don't really use a lot of the internet providers, but this is really for getting information about your library, like your metadata and your cover art. You can change your appearance. You can use the default system colors, and that's what I did. If I would change my system theme from dark to light, this would have the light look. Or you can create a custom color set where you click here and go through and actually, as you can see here, the custom color set got rid of my theme, which covered up the Clementine look, and you actually see it here. So if I wanted to go back to my default, which is here, and actually you can still see it, but my default color is dark black, and as you can see, custom theme, you can change your colors here. You can drag it around and choose whatever colors that you like. Now for your background image, because I started playing around in it, it shows the background image, which is Clementine. If you want to show your the cover art, since that's a small thumbnail, you can show the album cover, and when you hit apply and then close, and once you start to play your music, it will pull your album cover into the back. If it's overwhelming, you can make it less transparent so that you can see the text or the names of your songs on your list. So let me go back to preferences, and that's your appearance. You can go blur amount so that you're blurring your cover a bit, and you can make it more opaque. Let me hit apply, or you can make it less opaque. More opaque means you can't see through it. Less opacity means it's more transparent. So when I go here and hit apply, hit OK, it changes to where it's not as dark. It's more like I'm seeing through to see the darkness of my color. So if you want to make it more transparent, go to your left. More opaque, go to your right. And as you can see, it won't change until you hit apply and OK. Now you can change, like as you can see my music player down here, you can change your style where it looks like it's by the system colors. That's the normal. You can choose any of them, like angry, and when you hit apply, hit OK, it then changes down here to red instead of the blue look. You can go back and change it whatever mood. I'm going to go say the system colors, hit apply, and go back here, and it's now blue. So you can change your mood of the colors that's displayed on this track list bar. Now let's take a look at some additional features. Now, for example, if you don't have your music improperly here, you can edit your metadata. You can select the whole songs of the album. You can right click, and let me stop it. Don't think it will hurt to do it while it's playing, but you can come here and you can say edit your track information, edit the tag title, edit the title, or completely tag them automatically. If they're not correct, they'll probably be in a folder up here unknown. You could say tag them automatically, and when it does that, it will try to find these songs across the internet and put the correct tags in it. If you want to do it manually, choose the top one, edit track information, and it will come up with an edit track information dialog box showing you the listed songs here. You can come and put what they all have in common, like the artist, the album artist, the genre, the year, and if there's 2 discs, you can put 1 of 1, or you can put it, if it's the second one, 2. Now the track number will not apply if you have all the songs. Now to get the title name, you have to go and individually choose the song and put the names. But if you say to automatically tag them, select them automatically, then when it comes up with your list to say that's the album, then you can hit save and close, or close without saving. And this time, since I do have it properly tagged, I'm going to say close without saving. You can insert the lyrics and any comments into any of the songs that you want within your tag editor, metadata tag editor. So not all music players has a feature to allow you to edit your metadata. Now you can change your columns. If you don't like the looks, like your track, title, artist, albums, lengths, and source, you can come up here and right click, and you can add another title to your columns, or you can align your text to the left, the center, the right, or you can even hide the title bar completely. I like it this much. When I installed it by default, it was a little bit too active. The titles or columns were too close together, so I did remove some of the columns that was originally on this Clementine player. Now, your song information. If you want to know something about, let's say, let me go and click this song here. If I want to know the information about the song, I click song info. In a little bit, it will load the lyrics. If I want to know anything about the artist, I can click the artist. In a few moments, it'll go across the internet, and it will find the artist that's singing it. It will give you some info about the artist. So if you need information or lyrics about the song or the artist information, then you can click on the song info or artist info. You can click on devices across the internet, your playlists, your files, and your library. I normally leave the library. If you've got a large library, you can click the search feature, type the name or artist, and it will search not only your library but the places that you've got on the internet. And you can enter search items from here for your library, search through your library, and across the internet. Now, there's other tools that you have, such as an equalizer. You can come here and you can turn on an equalizer. If you enable the equalizer, and it's hard to see with it so small, you can drag it out. You can enable the equalizer or you can disable it. when you enable the equalizer, you can put multiple settings from classical all the way down to 0, or you can disable it. If you don't like an equalizer, you can disable that, and when you close it out, your equalizer will not be applied to your songs that are currently being playing. But if you're noticing you're not getting enough bass, you can enable the equalizer, turn the first several columns up to include more bass in your music. You also have visualizations. Now, if you're actually working at your computer, you probably don't want to sit there and look at your visualizations. However, if you're just listening to music in your home, you might can maximize that and put that on your screen. So if you're looking at your screen from time to time, disable your screensaver. You've got different visualizations. You can go in settings and change the visualizations that you are looking at in the dialog box. Now, you can also convert, and I showed you that just a while ago within the preferences, but you can actually transcode your music. So if I wanted to transcode this song, which is an MP3 song, I could come here, say transcode my music, add my music file, put it here, and then once I choose the format that I want the output, and you got a variety of different outputs, you can start encoding. You'll see a little progressive bar, and when you finish, it will be in the directory where you choose. Or if you don't want a different directory, it will be alongside of the original. So here is your destination. You can say alongside the original, or you can select a different location, and it will put the converted file into another folder. And that's how you can convert a file. Another feature is you can rip a CD. If you had a music CD in your CD player, DVD player, you can say rip the audio CD, and when you click on that, it will look like, and I don't have any in my system, but I do have what I ripped down here at the bottom. When you put your music CD in, that's where I converted. It may not find the information. It will come up with a RIP CD dialog box, and if it doesn't find the titles, you can quickly put those in and say select all, or you can just select the certain songs from your CD. You can, and it should have the information here. If not, you can just rip it off without the information and use the automatic tag info to tag your music. You can say start ripping. It will go through and make a progressive bar. And eventually, here's the progressive bar. When it reaches 100%, it should be in the destination that you choose. So Clementine is a very powerful music player. You know, I don't use this as my default player. For my default player, I use Audacious. But this is a great way of organizing your music within your list over here, so it's easy to access. You got search features. It's piled full of features. So if you're looking for a music player on Linux, Mac, and Windows, this is a cross-platform music player. You might want to give it a try. And if you do not like Clementine, if you're looking for something that updates more often, but you do like the look of Clementine, you might want to give Strawberry a go. Strawberry looks very, very similar to Clementine. The only difference is Strawberry is updated more often, and in the background, see, it looks very similar, but there's things in the background that you're not seeing that's different. And like I said, Clementine doesn't get updated as often as Strawberry. And if you do not like the looks of those big players, keep checking back from time to time. I will be adding additional music players, so in the future you can look back and see if I've added something to meet your personal preferences that you like for the music players within Linux. Or if you're a Windows or Mac user, I will be reviewing cross-platform music players for those platforms as well. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you, and have a great day.